Hey everyone, this is Ray again. We'll be beginning Module 2, which is using Wireshark to analyze traffic and steal credentials. So what you want to do is head over to wireshark.org/download.html and scroll down and download the appropriate installer for your operating system. So since I'm using Windows XP 32-bit, I'm going to use this one right here. But the issue is with Windows XP is that the current version does not support it. For example, if you go down to, I already installed an earlier package, but with the newer one, 1.12.6, if you try to run it, you'll get this message. It's not recommended. Recommend to downgrade to 1.10. So, and that's what I did. So I go to google.com, go and search Wireshark 1.10, and it brings me up to this site right here that I would recommend that you use as well. There's also other sites that host it as well, but here's the appropriate one, and that's fine. Once you install it, it's pretty much a straight install. Just accept the defaults, and it'll eventually install your shortcut right here at the desktop. So let's go ahead and open up Wireshark. Double click there. To make sure that Wireshark installed properly, go ahead and click Interface List, and you should have something similar. If you don't have anything in here, that means either a driver was not installed correctly when Wireshark was set up, or maybe it hit a bump in the road during the install. So I recommend uninstalling and reinstalling again. As you can see, Wireshark's already looking through packets as of right now, and it's just counting. And that's the appropriate IP address that we have our attacker workstations on. So we'll go ahead and close that. For the victim, we're going to use an FTP server to set up. Okay, so go ahead and head over to xliteftpd.com/download, and again, download the FTP installer for your appropriate operating system. Since my Windows 7 is 64-bit, I'm going to use one of these two windows. If you're using a 32-bit operating system, you're going to use one of these or two windows. So again, I already installed it, already ran it, and it's pretty much, again, it's a straight install process. Another thing that we had to check before, go to Control Panel, and let's go to System and Security, change Firewall Status, okay? More than likely you have your firewall on. In this case, you want to turn it off. So go to left. If yours are on already, just turn them to off. Turn firewall off. If you don't, those in your local area network will not be able to contact your FTP server, okay? So go ahead and double click on Light FTP, click yes, and then click up here, all right? And then here you're going to put your victim's IP address, 68.1.200, leave port 21, just to validate that's the correct IP address that we're using. Go to Command, ipconfig. So here we can see 192.168.1.200, 192.168.1.200. So we're good there. Go ahead and exit that. Go OK. Now let's add users that we want to allow on our FTP server. So I'm going to click this user list right here. Click on this right there. And I'm going to add my username Tom. Okay. And then for the password, I'm just going to choose Batman. Something easy. And then for the home directory that I want the user to be able to log into, click Browse, C drive, and then just for whatever purposes, documents and settings, and then go OK. Now to turn on FTP server, we'll just click this blue button right here, Start Server. Now it's running. So let's go ahead and head back over to our Wireshark. So we're going to go Start. And what we're going to do, we're basically just going to look for any FTP traffic. FTP, okay? And then click Apply. So now what Wireshark is going to do is going to search for any FTP data that's going to go across the wire. So let's go ahead and reach our FTP server. So you can use another VM, it doesn't matter, or you can use your host command line, which I'll use my host. So when that starts up, FTP, 192.168.1.200, and there we go. We got the name that's asking for. Our guy's name is Tom. Our password is Batman, and now I'm into the server. So as I type or logged into the FTP server, you can already tell, sorry about that, that our Wireshark has already uh, received the traffic. Okay, so let's go ahead and go dir, or actually a list. And there's everything that we have that we can use pretty much within the terminal right now. So no issues there. So now let's go ahead and look at the traffic that we have for our Wireshark, which has captures. So looking through, we can look through here and we can obviously tell the username and the password and all that other stuff. But if you have a lot of FTP traffic, if you have other traffic that you're trying to short through, I can suggest using FTP, and then you can do this, and it's going to do the same thing. It's going to look as if you're generating more traffic, it's going to go through. If not, you can stick to just FTP as well. Then you can also right click as well and go follow TCP tree. It's gonna it's gonna make this into a much more readable, digestible format, which is no problem here. As you can see, the type of FTP server that we're using is Xlite FTP version 3.8. The user that's logged in is Tom. The password required for Tom is Batman, which passed. Login status is OK. And then here's all the features that we can use. So again, that's how you use Wireshark to sniff traffic. So the drawbacks with using Wireshark is if it's using, if you're using FTP or HTTP and you got credentials going along, even Telnet, that's fine. As long as it's unencrypted, you can capture all that stuff. The issue that we may run into though is if they're using a secure FTP which uses SSH, or you're using a secure terminal shell or HTTPS, it's very hard to capture the credentials at that point. And then that's where we have to revert to our other tools that we use, such as Hakin, to conduct that man-in-the-middle attack that allows us to sniff that traffic and pass that traffic on to the legitimate destination as we capture the credentials and store them in the memory for us to use at a later time and day. So again, that's capturing credentials over a non-secure network.